Tervetuloa kaikille kuuntelijoille ympäri maailmaa. Välkommen till alla lyssnare runt om i världen. Welcome to the Finnposium series of Finlandia Foundation National. My name is Tommy Flanagan, and I'm the executive director of the foundation. Finnposium is an engaging series of online chats, webinars, lectures, musical, or other presentations that all relate to Finland or Finnish culture in the United States. And we are especially excited today to be able to highlight a very special person in the FFN network. In fact, in some ways, we're sort of making a return trip, at least for the start of this journey, back to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Earlier this year, in our Finnposium series, we highlighted artist Marjo Levlin and her work that was displayed at that time at the Finlandia Art Gallery at the Finnish American Heritage Center in Hancock. Today, we are highlighting another very important aspect of this rich team in Hancock by focusing on folk tradition and culture, specifically weaving. I'm thrilled today to be able to introduce to you Phyllis Fredendall. Phyllis has been visiting Finland for nearly 30 years. First in a faculty team establishing the Suomi College relationship with the Kuopio Academy of Craft and Design, and later as an artist in residence at Petäjävesi and in art exhibits at Jämsä and Kuusamo. On family visits in Helsinki and with her friends in Tampere, she has been able to stay very connected to the rich art and design culture of Finland. She is Professor Emeritus of Fiber and Fashion Design of Finlandia University, and last fall completed an American Scandinavian Foundation Fellowship researching current weaving practices in Finland. Additionally, she's the former director of the Finnish American Folk School and now serves in the capacity of advisor to and instructor at the Finnish American Folk School at the Finnish American Heritage Center in Hancock, Michigan. And in fact, you can catch Phyllis actually giving weaving instructions at the Folk School, and I encourage everyone to check out our website for our Folk School schedule. Phyllis's work throughout her career has demonstrated the modern and contemporary connections to traditional folk arts and culture. So those of you who may have heard from people that folk art and tradition is a thing of the past, you may be sadly mistaken. They have, in fact, a very relevant place at our table in the contemporary world. So without further ado, I am thrilled to hand it over to Phyllis for this Finnposium presentation entitled Weaving in Finland Today and Yesterday, Folk Tradition, Folk Schools, Taito, and Beyond. Phyllis, take it away. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Tommy. Thank you for that great introduction. And thank you to Jessica behind the scenes for moving slides along. I really appreciate it. I had this incredible experience in the fall to visit Finland and specifically focus on weaving. I've been to Finland many times, but I'm a maker. And so it was so nice to go and actually to be weaving in some wonderful weaving studios and also visit weaving studios. So what you will see today will be some independent weaving studios, one in Pukkila, which is in Helsinki, one in Porvoo, Hancock's sister city, the folk school in Omnia, which is in Tapiola, Espoo, and then in Rovaniemi, a folk school, a university, and a Taito. In Tampere, 3 different Taitos, and in Ahvenanmaa, much happening in Ahvenanmaa. So I'll tell you more about that in illustrations. So, but we're going to start at the Design Museum. So here comes what the Design Museum looked like in September. This was a beautiful exhibition, and I was thrilled because here I was going to study weaving in Finland, and here's a most contemporary expression of weaving by an artist who was trained in Lahti University. His name is Kusta Saksi. He's I would say, a graphic illustrator, but he found in 2010 in the Netherlands, where he was living, he found a way for him to express his imagery in a more dimensional way. And so he learned about woven structure, and in collaboration with this incredible mill that's actually in a historic textile center, actually a wool center in Tilburg, Netherlands. he's been collaborating with them and they've been weaving his designs. So I'll just show you a few. The entire second floor of the Design Museum was full of his beautiful weavings. And actually on either side of that image, you'll see the spider on the right, and then the big sort of splash, almost mandala on the left. Those are both woven textiles that were hanging on the outside. So let's look at the next slide. Here you can see the scale of the work. There was another one on the other side. He had actually collaborated with an AI. What would be an ideal landscape, right? You can go next. Here, some zodiac. You can see the incredible complexity of his imagery. And there'll be a detail here next. I was completely fascinated with his selvages, you know, the edge of the weaving and the borders. He was really attentive to the borders. And here you can see the weft, which is what gets woven across the loom. You could really examine the beautiful complex fibers that he's using, and you see how complex the weaves are within the shapes, and that give the overall effect. Here, more dimensionality. If you're interested in researching his work, his name is Kusta Saksi, and his does very complex and interesting works. There's a detail of this next. There's his signature, and you can see how thick and rich the fabric is. It's really terrific installations. So from there, we traveled. My husband was really wonderful at helping make connections with some weaving centers. One, as I mentioned, in Pukkila, which is an independent weaving space, actually in a church. So we'll visit that place next. The Pukkila Church. Here you see the exterior, the interior of the sanctuary, beautifully lit. But downstairs is a space that has been a weaving center in Pukkila, in that church, for 35 years. And Anya greeted us warmly and told us that the group meets once a week and they talk about what they want to weave. They sort of teach each other. It's a small space, but it's well lit. It's the lower level of the church, but still they have a private entrance and they can each have a key. And they pay the church by weaving objects that the church can sell for their missions. And then they also have the opportunity to weave objects for themselves. You can see the balls of yarn. They get together sometimes to cut strips of donated fabric that they have. Here you can see a rug being woven, and that's really typical weft that people purchase in Finland. It's a woven tube, very dense cotton woven tube, available to purchase in many places around. You see Anya there, she was so kind. The looms are really uniformly countermarch looms, almost all the looms I saw in Finland, and with a bottom beater. So those of you who are weavers are going to pay attention to that. Some fabric for maybe a tablecloth. So fine fabrics as well. I would say people are weaving all manner of objects in Finland, but carpets are what people are really interested in weaving. You can see the Toika logo on that loom as well. And here's an interesting, this is all cotton sheeting cut into strips, and then loops, textural loops being made on the surface in the weaving process. So that was really interesting. Next we go to Porvoo, and Porvoo, as I said, is the sister city to Hancock. And this building, this massive building, is actually one of the largest publishing houses in Finland, and the weaving studio is in space in this building. So, Oh, yeah, this was fun and kind of appropriate for the day after Easter. These massive, they're taller than I am, massive sculptural rabbits, even with some handmade rabbit droppings. So that was really fun to see. So that was in the hallway outside of the weaving studio. And this group meets once a week. There are about 60 members and 20 to 30 active members. It's an independent weaving group. They pay 30 euros a year to have the opportunity to weave. They pay 3 euros a day or 6 euros a day for non-members to use the looms. And then they pay by the meter of the work that they use, and then also provide their own weft. There's a wonderful woman on the left. You'll see a detail of her. She's an 87-year-old weaver, and that I hope will be me, happily weaving at 87. Christmas table runner is what she's weaving, I believe, and using paper yarn. And this woman was cutting up strips from banners. If you're in Finland, you'll see that and actually in this country too, we should be grabbing them and saving them. But these are banners at gas stations and cut into strips and weaving really functional waterproof carpets. So this woman was doing that. And you see the temple there, which is a stretcher keeping the weft spread. This woman is actually a volunteer, and she's kind of the weaving expert. She was teaching in Lahti, and we were delighted to discover that we had a Kuopio connection. She had been at Vetterhof when Eija Vähelä, who is the director of the Kuopio Academy, when I visited there many times. So we talked about Eija a little bit, and she was just marvelous. So this is Maria Akenen. You can see the carpets on the wall, and then that symbol, that sign Matto 80, that just means it's for weaving carpets, and it's 80 centimeters wide on that loom. This woman had dyed all of the sheeting that she had cut up, so everything was going to be blue. And this, she is weaving in 2 layers that would then open up to create a very wide bed covering. So she was just beginning that, a very ambitious project, but really nice. You can see nice, well lit. It was an L-shaped room, really nice looms, mostly 4-shaft. It's really nice block, double block weave rug. I would have happily bought about 7 different rugs that I saw in Finland, but you can only take away so much. So I restrained myself, but that was a real beautiful piece. So they do sell some of the objects that are woven, the woven products they sell there as well. And there is a nice use of rag carpets hanging up as a privacy curtain. That was just outside when we walked out of the building. There it was across the street. So that was really nice. So our schedule opened up, and though I had not planned, I was able to do some weaving in the Espoo area, and that will be next. My former student, Lisa Viitala, I don't know if Lisa is watching now, but Lisa told me about Omnia. She had an opportunity to weave in August, also as an American Scandinavian Foundation Fellow, and she found Ulla Karsikas, who's a wonderful teacher, and spent a month in this Omnia weaving studio teaching Lisa her röju technique. So it was really nice that I wanted to see where Lisa had woven with Ulla, and Ulla met me one day, and that was actually before we went to Porvoo. And then when I came back and discovered that our schedule opened up, I called the Omnia Weaving Center, and as it happened, Jana answered the phone and said, yes, we have a loom, you're welcome to come and weave. So that was really delightful. So I had an opportunity to weave there. And I think Jana is actually tuned in. Hello, Jana. There she is. And I'm sorry I caught you with your eyes closed, but a beautiful jacket fabric that Jana wove. And Jana is one of the 2 teachers. This is a folk school. So Omnia is a large building full of folk school activities, including language classes, cooking, dance, music, and lots of hand work, and then this beautiful weaving studio. So they're open Monday through Thursday, and people can come in and weave, use the space. There are looms that are set up, but there are also looms available for people to set up their own work. Here's a class actually that Jana was starting one evening that I was there weaving. The classes fill up right away. There used to be 5 places in Espoo where you could weave, and now there is only Omnia. So there's a great demand for what they're doing there. And everybody there was looking at the looms available to them. They wove up fabric to make Japanese bags. So this was a collaborative class with a woman from Japan, which was really wonderful. And everybody was really enthusiastic and tuned in there. So yeah. So just looking at the different warp and weft options that they had. Next, and there's Jana setting up threading the loom. So that's the activity that she and Ritva do when they're not needing to help people. So people are, they come with their own wefts, or you can also purchase weft there. And I was really delighted. I wove linen on linen, which I had never done. And they had a beautiful selection of colors. So it was really great to weave there. Yes, she had just wound that big warp. You can see just a really beautifully lit space there. And there she is winding the warp on. So from the back, winding the warp on, and you see her putting the sticks in for spacing. Next, I'll show you what is woven on that, which is next here, I think. Yes. So these are also table runners, similar to what was being woven by the woman in Porvoo. And I think they called it basilica. So it was a natural material woven as the weft, and these are table runners. Quite nice and unique. This woman was taking her 2 weeks of vacation to weave fabric that was going to become the vest for her national costume. So here she is setting up the loom. Next, you'll see her farther along in the process in the next image. Underneath, doing the tie-up. So this is the thing about countermarch looms. They have a beautiful shed because they lift and lower, but the tie-up is always quite complex. And she was a little bit wishing she had done the tie-up before she'd gotten the warp all on, because she had to crawl under there. But she was happy to be able to weave. And that was the same loom that Lisa had woven her bruise on. They also have a computer interface loom, and this is Eustace Kay, who is a well-known or a noted fashion designer. And so he was they were just taking some fabric off. He was going to be doing some test washing, and he's working on developing a line of garments. He came to Omnia about 11 years ago. He was a university student, and the school did not have looms, and he wanted to learn how to weave. So he has had a relationship with Omnia, as far as I understand, for many years. And it was really nice to talk with him. He was on a 3-year Kone grant, which was great, Kone Foundation grant. So very nice to meet him. Much more to say about him, but you can find information about Eustace Ko. And there I am on the 8 shaft, weaving linen, just getting started. There it is. Yep. And so that has now been cut up, and those are separate towels, which was really nice to have. So now we're off to Rovaniemi. And there it is. So it happened that we took the night train. We arrived in Rovaniemi the day of a harvest festival that they had in a historic park in Rovaniemi. So we were really fortunate to be there on that day. September is a really nice time to be in Finland, I have to say. And you'll see the rowan berries there, and berries were ripe, and cultural things are happening. It was terrific. So this was in the park. people were selling fruits and vegetables and also carpets. So here, it's really traditional 3 shuttle carpets then with stripes, and you see those all over Finland, but they're really specific to the north and in the Rovaniemi and Lapland area. Would have purchased one of those as well. And here we are in that same festival. There's Rovala. This is the folk school in Rovaniemi. This woman is actually, we met her later. She met us in one of the weaving centers. There are 23 different locations for Rovala Folk School, and in the Rovaniemi area, they have spaces that are for weaving, but also dance, music, cooking, language, and people can, there are some certificate programs. They're for adults and youth, and there's no assessment, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful system. So it was great to see them out promoting what they do. And you can see that since 1920, 1921, you see some boot makers demonstrating. Our folk school had a boot making workshop a few years ago, which was wonderful and happily attended. Man working on a lathe, turning. And then, of course, you know you're in Rovaniemi when there's a little reindeer present. So here is Ylläri, where the weaving, the folk school weaving studio was that we were able to visit, thanks to Päivi, who met us there later. This was originally a youth center, but the youth center was moved into the school, and so they gave the folk school this building. It's a wonderful facility, big weaving studio space, lots of looms, tables to sit around. There's a small ceramic studio. You can see kilns and a wheel, and a wonderful sewing space. So it was really encouraging to see. And that was just one of 23 locations for the folk school system, the Rovala folk school system. Okay, and now to the University of Lapland in Rovaniemi. I visited there in 2017 with my niece, who was looking at colleges, and she was in Finland with us, and this was her favorite place, but it was a little far for her parents to accept her going. But I made a connection with the director there, and when I had decided I wanted to make application to the American Scandinavian Foundation, I knew that I wanted to learn to weave takana. And so I reached out to Heidi Pietarinen, who was the director, and she talked to the weaving instructor there, who said yes, that she would be willing to teach me takana. And this was back in 2020, because that's when I had applied for the grant. So I was really grateful that by 2023, when I was able to go to Finland for the fellowship, that Ritva Jaskalainen was still available and still willing to teach me. So next. So this is a great, interesting and beautiful space for students to eat. And you can see then this open, well-lit, beautiful space. The third floor is the textile area. And one of the reasons I got interested in takana is this work of art, which had been in my husband's parents' home. It was woven by Sara Nissula, who is the cousin of Hanu's mother, and it's a beautiful takana. So it's a complete double weave, and now we have it in our home, for which I'm so grateful. And there's Ritva. So she was so kind and welcoming. And there she's standing next to one of their computer interface looms, which was in a room separate from where I worked. she showed me the examples of takana that she had. This typical Lappish scene and another traditional image. And the next one will show you that they are completely reversible. So you weave 2 layers at a time, and they can reverse. And so it's sort of like a seasonal. You can have one side showing on one time of the year and one on another time of the year. But it is a really complex process next, and you'll see me working on it. Well, actually, first you'll see my design inspiration. My husband's surname is Leppänen, and the Leppä leaf, we found a Leppä leaf near where his parents had lived in Espoo. And so I use that as my model. And you can see that I've got it totally gridded out because I have to count every pair of warps to weave it. So you'll see me at the loom. Ritva had the loom all set up for me. Her assistant had warped it, so it was really a luxury. She asked me if I wanted white and red or white and black, and of course I chose white and red. And so here you see me following my chart as I'm weaving. It was really great to be right next to the windows there in that terrific studio. So it's a 4-shaft process, and here I am picking up warp by warp my white warps and leaving the reds away. And so it's a complicated and very interesting process. I have to say, I would say almost no one is doing it anymore in Finland because of the advent of computer interface weaving. People can weave pictures really simply and not in such a weaverly process as this is, but I really enjoyed the process and enjoyed doing it. So you can see me, the 2 sticks are very necessary to separate the pattern and the layers. I will be teaching takana in October at the folk school in Hancock. So if anybody is interested, please join me. So here you can see me. It took, this was a 4-day process really from start to finish. So I kept it fairly manageable in size, and I really learned a lot. I would change it a little bit, I think, but generally for a first effort, it's not bad. Yeah, there's the reverse. So it is completed and it's on our wall. And there's, after my days of weaving, and just a real friendship developed with Ritva. So that was a wonderful opportunity. And here still in Rovaniemi then is a Taito. So we'll go inside. You can see the yarn bombing to indicate there's fiber inside. The Taito system was established in 1913, and it is a nonprofit. There are 17 registered Taitos across Finland in over 100 physical locations. There are 200 paid positions, and they were developed to enhance the skills of the hand. So Taito actually means skill. The focus is on education and also on business. So this young woman was one of Ritva's students and was taking a year off to work in the Taito. So you can see her in front of the scale, so people can purchase by the kilogram their supplies. So in addition to the shop, there's a really great weaving studio. I thought this was a really lovely example. And there's the structure. If anybody's interested, I've got it. So you can email me and I'll send you an image, and you can set up and weave it. And they also have balled up rags that you can purchase €9 a kilo. And I did that. I purchased 3 balls of rags and used them later when I wove in Verkkaranta at the end of the trip. Here's the big studio, and the woman there was actually Ritva's predecessor. She's retired now and fills in at the Taito to help people out, which is great. And this woman is weaving a traditional huivi or scarf, Rovaniemi patterned scarf. And if you show the next image, you'll see it woven, some of it woven. And I think I did see this set up also in the folk school in Rovaniemi. So it's a lovely traditional scarf. Okay, so we had a little bit of time in Tampere before we went to Ahvenanmaa, and our dear friends Anna Alapuro and Ilkka Väti had an artist residency in Ahvenanmaa, but they let us stay in their place in Tampere. They're just wonderful friends and have hosted us many times. So look at this. It's a great time to be in Finland, all that puolukka for sale, which are lingonberries. Okay, next. So we visited two Taito centers. This one, Epilä, that was in an old bank building. Can go straight in. That is right in Tampere proper. I was delighted to see this rug. I had taught in May, I had taught this structure of placemats, but I taught this very same structure. So it was really fun to see it just 50-50 laid out in rag. And it's a double-faced weave. This is the entrance to the Epilä Taito. So on the right, there are looms, and they have a little shop you can see, and a nice place to sit and look through magazines and decide on a project. They also have classroom space in the back, and their yarn storage is in the bank vault, which is terrific. Everybody needs a pink loom, I think. More of that weft available to purchase by the kilo or by the hank, and yarns as well. And here we are in Pukkila. That's Eija, and I met her later in Verkkaranta, where she normally works. Pukkila is the oldest and the smallest of the Taitos in the Pirkanmaa area, which is the Tampere area. There are 13 different Taitos in the Tampere area, and most of them have weaving, but the central one is Verkkaranta. This was a lovely little space underneath a restaurant and bar, but still with a nice private entrance and good lighting. You can see 3 shuttle rag carpets being woven everywhere. It's kind of the favorite structure. And this is popona. I had the opportunity to weave popona too when I had a little extra time in Verkkaranta. So this is a bias cut cotton, and you can see it has a special shuttle. They are sold in discs, and so it's really easy to weave up and creates this sort of velvety surface, which is really nice. Vibrant colors, just great. And a shelf full of popona for sale. So, all right, next. Here we are on our way now between Turku and Ahvenanmaa. Ahvenanmaa are the islands that are culturally and linguistically Swedish, but part of Finland. So we took a boat, a very large boat, and you can see the perspective next, from Turku to Marianhamina. Just love those buoys and lighthouse buoys. And, you know, there's so many beautiful old manors, I would call them almost, along the way. Okay, this is a map. So this is a map of Ahvenanmaa, and if you look to the far left, you see Eckerö. Eckerö is the westernmost edge of Finland. And there, right, yeah, thank you, right there is where our friends had the artist residency in the post house. So next you'll see that structure that was actually built during Russian time, because that was also the western edge of Russia when Russia had Finland. And this was designed by the architect, German architect, Karl Engel, who many of you would recognize the name. He also designed buildings in the center of Helsinki as well. So this is now a museum. And then to the right, there's a separate building that's not in this image, is where the artist residency is. So it's a really wonderful place for a residency, and our friends were there for the month of September. So it was a great opportunity for us to visit Ahvenanmaa, for me, for the first time. Bicycles for the residents, and the entry to the resident door is just there to the left. And if you look through that passageway, that is the sea. So it's really right on the water. It was the end of the season, and so they were having their final exhibition. So this is in the courtyard area, and the entrance there that's marked. We'll go inside and just take a quick look at one of the exhibits there. The Handicraft Association of Ahvenanmaa had an exhibit. And you'll see on the left some garments. You'll be meeting that artist shortly who wove the garments on the left. This is a weaving a rag rug carpet washing station, which is marvelous. So next, they're everywhere in Finland. So that's a mangle. You can squeeze out the water. This is right on the water, and next we're going to enter into a shop that is really owned by a weaver called Salt. And next, Kunsthandwerk. There she is with some of her samples. She makes really great rugs. Next, she has 2 looms in the back, and then sells supplies, but also her products. There's her loom set up for a boucle garment fabric, and then supplies. And her rugs. She has real solid structure. And this is the folk school in Ahvenanmaa. The most looms I saw in any one place. They had 36 looms. She teaches 3 12-week sessions at the same time. So she'll have 12 students, each one with their own loom. And there's Anna Alapuro and Katja, and the instructor is between them there, Sara. They were just getting set up. She was apologetic. We're just getting started. There's nothing on the looms, but they were getting going. Sara was really generous to give us time. And there were many enthusiastic weavers getting ready to weave. So unlike the Taitos, people can only use the looms when they're taking a class in this folk school. And she had different levels, from beginners to advanced. Here she is. They're setting up the warps. And it's a complicated thing. So when you set up a warp, you set up a lot of warp. Here's a blanket that somebody had woven. They brought in many different samples to show us. The midsummer pole still up and decorative. It's culturally Swedish and lovely. You can see the sailboats up on top. We had the opportunity to visit Maggie Holmberg's place. And so I'm going to click through fairly quickly, but Maggie is wonderful. She has a beautiful weaving space. So we'll go inside and see her looms. She had power looms. So next she's weaving carpets, but you see her pushing 2 buttons, and it's actually hydraulic. So it advances. There's a hydraulic press. She said, I'm old, I need help with this. So she had that all set up for her loom. She's been weaving for many years and actually was a liturgical designer and weaver, and lives in this building was built in the 1700s. Her grandmother bought it 100 years ago. There was another building on the property where she had a weaving center and shop. But we had the privilege to go in. The house is a museum. I'm just going to show you a few things focused on weaving. And I really have a big thank you to Katja for arranging this, and also Hanavik. This is a tapestry rag woven tapestry, which is really quite incredible detail there. Yeah, really fun to see that. Beautiful rugs throughout the house next that Maggie has woven. That's in her kitchen. That's a Dora Jung. So she had this incredible collection. And those of you who know Finnish design, that's a really beautiful, rare object, a small Dora Jung original. And an Irma Kukasjärvi, who's a wonderful noted weaver that I met many years ago in Helsinki. So Maggie was really a consummate collector, but also a wonderful artist. And here we are looking at her collection. That's Hanavik there, who's the director of the Handwork Association in Ahvenanmaa. Behind me, next, we'll take a look at this incredible ryu that is actually a poverty ryu that Maggie made. And it's combining wool and rag, which just knocked my socks off. And it's woven in 2 sections. Okay. This is important. There were 2 takana that I saw outside of Rovaniemi, and Maggie had both of them. This was woven by her teacher. Next, it's a really beautiful traditional takana in linen. You'll see the reverse side, marvelous. And then this extraordinary scene that's woven. Those of you weavers will notice that the ground weave is a plain weave, and then the figure is a twill, and also there's color changes going on. So this was just wonderful for me to see. It gave me all kinds of ideas. So that's also a takane, thin pick double weave. You'll see the detail of the lighthouse. Yeah, just really a beautiful piece. And every once in a while in Ahvenanmaa, you see that's a windmill. So just a surprising, charming, beautiful, beautiful place. I recommend it if you have an opportunity to go. This is Verkaranta. Okay, we'll be quick. This was really what prompted me to come and study and weave, is this beautiful place right on the water in Tampere. It's a Taito. I want to show you. This is the side entrance. It's right on the water there. You can see through the window some products that celebrate the beautiful buildings of Tampere. So that building was actually the dye house, the wool dye house. Here are the 2 Annas, Anna Alapuro, dear friend, and Anna Puolaka, who is the director there. So I just love they're both wearing that amazing yellow. So this is up in the Taito weaving area. Here, a rug coming off, being measured. So everybody pays by the meter. I paid 13 euros per meter. I had a 2-meter rug that I wove. This is not mine, but the woman in blue. Here's a woman weaving a rug, and it's a really great space for weaving. This young woman is an Aalto University student, and she is a knitwear designer and had shorn her uncle's lambs and was carding using an electric drum carder, carding up the wool. Next, you'll see a big pile. And she was hoping to learn how to spin it and then knit with it, and that was going to be her master's thesis. So that was pretty great. So her name's Saimi, and it was delightful to spend the day with her while I was weaving. So I wove there for 3 days. They charged by the day, so it was, I think, 19 euros a day, and then I paid for the warp that I used, and also had brought all of my weft. You can see the view, and you can just keep clicking through. You'll see my neighbors on either side. There's my ubiquitous teacup looking down into the supply studio, the supply space in Verkaranta. I can feel the hook coming, their wet space. Yeah, and this is Taina winding a warp from this double umbrella swift, really great equipment that they have there. The staff is always available, and so people can come, people can be beginning weavers. This is Heidi. She works in the hospital and comes, and this is the second rug she's ever woven. She's weaving this big rug to go under her dining room table. So she was my neighbor on my right, and on my left, you'll see Pasi. And I asked Pasi how he learn to weave. And he said his mother had taught him when he was 10 years old, but it took him 30 years to get smart and come back to weaving. And so he was there all the time. When he wasn't working, he was always weaving rugs. And I said, do you sell them? No, I give them away. But he just, understanding the joy of weaving. And it was so nice to be with weavers who really love it. And there, his back is right to the water. There's that. Just a marvelous place to weave. All of the spaces were wonderful for weaving. It was great. And then this was the popona that I wove. So I also paid for my popona, which was really great. They had the weft available right there. And that's the popona I used. I'm going to make a bag out of that, by the way. I haven't done it yet, but it's right behind me. And then you'll see that's the popona. The last piece really is the rug that I wove and the supplies that I have. Yeah, and that was the pattern. There's the rug. Yep, all of my supplies and the rug in process, and then off the loom.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Phyllis. I want to thank you for giving us a look into your travels and learnings in Finland about weaving. I think, as someone myself who's really interested in Finnish American culture, of course, I'm not really familiar with weaving and with folk schools and Taito and all of that. And I'm always struck by the colors, right? I'm always left with, wow. I mean, even in your studio that you're in right now, there's a lot of resemblance to all of the places and spaces you actually showed us when on your travels. And there's lots of comments going on, and a couple of them here from Mary Wurtzer. She's asking if we could actually get a list of names of the locations and the weaving studios that you visited. And I think that's something we could work on. And actually, Mary, we could, when we post this video on YouTube, we could have that actually in the description of what areas, what places are covered, Phyllis. So maybe we could actually make that available. People are really interested. Maybe they want to go on the same pilgrimage in some ways.
Sure. And their context to their contacts too. I'm really happy to share anything that you saw. So Absolutely. That's great. Yeah. If people would just send requests. And also I'd just like to say I'm very open to emails from people if you have specific individual requests. So
Absolutely. Yes. And it's very easy. She's got an easy one. It's phyllis.fredendall@finlandiafoundation.org. So we can you can find that online as well. A couple of things in here. It was really great to see that we had people from all over the place. We had from Michigan, Minnesota. We had someone from the Weavers Guild of Minnesota here. We had someone from Finnskogen in Norway. We had people from Finland and San Diego, Spokane, Oregon. So really, we had quite an audience today. I like that pink loom a lot. I thought that was striking, and the rabbits as well. That's quite a thing. You can really make quite an impression with these types of projects. But maybe just one question that I had too is, if you had to just give someone the elevator pitch of, well, why isn't a Taito a folk school, or why isn't a folk school a Taito, what would your explanation be?
Oh, wow. All right, Tommy. Well, they're two different organizations. Okay. One thing I know about Taito that I didn't tell you is that they are 1/3 supported by tuition, 1/3 supported by the region or the county, and 1/3 supported by the state of Finland. So they are, and it's an organization that was established in 1913. So it is a formal organization, but it is really skill-based. It's for skill-based, whereas folk school is broader. Folk school is language, not that that's not skill, but it's not skills of the hand. So folk school can be much broader. Language, cooking, music, just as we do at the Finnish American Folk School. So
you could say that a Taito is a type of folk school, but folk school is a bigger thing?
Yeah, they're very different. They are different organizations. Yeah, a folk school is oh, that's a good quiz, Tommy. All right, let me work on that and I will write it up. I really thought I had a good handle on it, but now you're...
No, I didn't mean to put it.
No. And I think
it's a really interesting, I mean, it's a very Finnish specific context as well, Taito, right? Being funded by, partially by the state. That's one major thing.
That is true. The other thing is that the Taitos have shops. So there are Taito shops that are attached to or not necessarily attached, whereas folk schools don't have shops. They don't sell They don't sell. People can sell individually, but that's not what they do. So it isn't. The business model of the Taito is what separates it, I think, from folk school also.
Okay. Okay. No, it's a really interesting distinction, and you're right. I mean, we're lucky now at Finlandia Foundation National to, have a folk school. We obtained the folk school that, of course, you have had a lot to do with, and we're really thrilled about that. And I want to highlight, it is a shameless plug, but please follow that online. And if you're in the Hancock area ever, check the website to see what is being offered. And, in the future, there could be some virtual offers. But as you saw from your presentation today, it certainly still is a living thing in Finland. It's still very vibrant. They're still all over the place. When you said there were 17 Taitos in over 100 locations across the country.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of the culture in a country of that size. So I think we have a lot to learn from that model, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole idea was that if people are using their hands, they're healthier, they're happier, it's better it's community building. So that was the idea. And that was back in 1913. That was before independence even.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
We're getting all kinds of thank yous in the chat, Phyllis. People were really happy to hear about this. Some comments about poppanan takana. Maybe we could talk about that difference too. But I just want to say my favorite image that you showed was the one of the sea scene in the lighthouse. That was absolutely stunning. What a stunning piece of art.
Yeah. Yeah, really. And I don't know that artist's name. I'm sorry, I didn't, I sent Maggie a thank you Christmas card, but I haven't been in touch with her. But let's see, maybe we can work on that a little bit and find out the name of the artist. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's part of her collection.
It made me think of you, because I thought that could be Lake Superior or that could be the Baltic Sea. That imagery right there was so, I think a lot of people could really relate to what was portrayed there. And then, of course, the poverty. Is that what you said, Ryu?
Poverty, Ryu, yeah. Yeah.
That is also such a striking, really unique Ryu that probably not many people have seen. So I'm glad that you showed us that also in detail to see how the wool and the rags came together in that piece.
Yeah. There's a lot of experiences in Ahvenanmaa that I didn't share with you because there was just so much, but I can do another program on Ahvenanmaa sometime. I really enjoyed it. And Tampere too, I just want to say Tampere is a wonderful city. They have a great tram system now. It's easy to get around. It's the fastest growing city in Finland, but I love Helsinki. I mean, it's just a wonderful country. That's all I can say.
It is. Yeah, it is. We have one question. Do you need to speak Finnish to go to weave?
No. Right. Shamefully, I am not. I do not speak. I can eavesdrop a little bit, but I am not a Finnish speaker. No, people are so kind, and they are, they're willing to muscle through with English. And many anybody younger than me speaks English pretty well, actually.
There is quite a bit of English speaking. You're right. Tampere is up and coming, that's for sure, in a lot of ways. So
my husband is here. He corrected me. In where? What dear? In Rovaniemi. That's true. In Rovaniemi, actually, Päivi was not going to come to that folk school because she couldn't speak English. But when I told her that my husband was with me and he was a Finnish citizen, then she was willing. So that's very true. And Päivi had studied in Kuopio. I was really struck by all of the connections of the weaving community, all the interlacing of the weaving community. So it was just a great, wonderful privilege to be there and connect.
Well, we're glad. And you said doing another program about Ahvenanmaa. I think the interest today showed that you would have an audience for that. I think there's some interest here. One practical question in the Q&A is if there's a place where there's a Finnish English glossary of weaving terminology to make searching for things easier. Is that something you know about?
I have, the first time I walked into Kuopio, they had one. They had developed
really?
An art and design Finnish English dictionary. I know where that is, so I'll pull that out. That would be a nice challenge. But in terms of availability, I think Google Translate is not reliable.
No, not for this specific vocabulary, you know, at all. So, you know, if that were something we could put as a link somewhere, it's a great idea, and it's a good point. So, lots of thank yous in here, Phyllis. We're at the end of our time, but I do want to thank you for letting us sort of come on this journey with you and letting us relive a fall in Finland. And we hope to hear. You know, stay tuned, everybody. There could be a follow-up Finnposium diving deeper into some of these topics. And I would encourage everyone here who's not already sort of following the Finnish American Folk School on social media and online to do so. We're proud and thrilled to have it as part of Finlandia Foundation National. And thank you all for joining in on this Finnposium this afternoon or morning, depending on where you're at. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. So kiitos, Phyllis, for everything, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you all for attending. It was wonderful to see you virtually. Thank you, Tommy.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Kiitos. Hey.
Yep. Hey.